Hi, welcome back. My name is Brittany, and today's video is my May TBR planning session. So last month, I kind of switched up how I share my TBR for the month and the process I kind of started to create in order to pick books more intentionally. And I'm happy to report it went very well. It was super fun to just have a list of books kind of like pre-curated instead of something like set in stone, a deadline. I just had a nice menu, a nice selection of things, and it was super helpful to just keep me on track, kind of keeping that momentum up, having books to choose from that I know I'm interested in at the moment. Because while I like to plan and be very organized, I'm also very much a mood reader. So like combining those two is kind of tricky, right? So having a menu of like multiple things to pick from that currently sound interesting was super, super nice. It also just helped with like decision fatigue, and having so many options, it can be really overwhelming. And I'm very much like a squirrel and like, ooh, shiny, like there's a new book over here. What about that one? And then I just get totally sidetracked. So it was super fun to kind of work through that. I'm going to keep that process because it worked. I want to keep it and refine it a little. And also it was super fun to like check off the books. I had made a little graphic, which I will pop up, and it was fun to just be like, boop, check them off as I went. Let's move to my iPad and start planning. Okay, so I just have a blank page pretty much to get us started with. I took a few notes, and this is what I'm going to use to kind of like start my brainstorming process. I looked at the text message that was sent out from my book friends, the book bitches. And I just wrote those all down because I'm using my phone to film. So I wrote those down, and then I just took a copy of this graphic I had made and kind of what I've read. So let me just update a few things. I did finish La Havana, and a funny story. Coming back up to this list from my girlfriend, I have already read Night Bitch. That was brought up, and I hope everyone loves it as much as I did. I'm not going to reread it just because I read it recently. I might flip through it, but I already read it. I also already read Funny Story, which was fantastic. It was super fun. And then Thursday Murder Club was my recommendation. One of my friends is wanting like murder mystery, like something thrilling. And so that was my suggestion. I wouldn't say it's like super thrilling, and it's not scary at all, even though there's murder and kind of like darker themes. It's also really cheeky and fun. I know those things like don't mesh, but it's a very fun series. It's about a group of friends from a retirement community. They're all in their 70s, and they look into cold cases, and then they start getting into actual murder cases. And it's just super fun. I'm waiting for book 3. So I want everyone to like join me on this journey. So I've already read it. I'm gonna take that off my list. So Shadow of the Gods was brought up as like potentially backup option. It was funny, like the text that got sent out was almost like meeting minutes versus like a list of books. So we talked about a lot of things too, Shadow of the Gods being one of those books. And I would like to read it. I'm going to take it off my list for now because if I read any John Gwynne, it's going to be to prioritize Valor instead of starting a new series. Like, it's toxic. We cannot start another series when I haven't even finished one by the same guy. Like, we need to focus. I need to start kind of like organizing these things. Kindle, audio, physical. And then I have like my maybes down here. So we have actually talked about reading the Sword of Kaigen. So I am gonna try to get to that one, reprioritize that. And then we also talked about When the Moon Hatched. That is on Kindle Unlimited, so is Spark of the Everflame. I don't know if I will get to those two because I don't know if I'm ready for romantasy. I don't know, so we'll see. I'm gonna leave that there. This is all just brainstorming for now. Lilith is one we talked about. I need to look at it again and see what format I can find it in. Butcher and Blackbird and Pet Sematary were things we talked about specifically for audiobooks. My girlfriend wants to read Pet Sematary, but then I told her it's narrated by Michael C. Hall, and he plays Dexter. So, like, I don't know, that just feels like a vibe to have, like, Dexter reading you a creepy Stephen King book. I don't know, I just like that. And then I've heard Butcher and Blackbird is really twisted, but also a great audiobook experience. So that is also on my list. And then we also talked about Woman Eating and Cursed Bread. So I will look into those. Okay, I definitely want to try again for Chain Gang All-Stars. I read the sample on Kindle and the first couple of chapters were super, super good. I just want to get to it because it sounds good, and it was kind of brutal and intense, and I'm just yeah. So I would really like to get to that. What else? I will just keep The Devil and Mrs. Davenport and What the Wind Knows and Tom Lake as audiobook options for now, unless I find some other things. And then I think I can get to Cytonic in May because I've made progress on the novellas. So I think I can get to Cytonic, and that would be kind of an easy audiobook to do while I'm traveling because it would be a re-listen. Maybe I'll see, oh, hello. I'll see if I can find Grace of Kings anywhere. And then for physical books, Shark Heart and Valor. I think that's a good start here. I'm gonna delete all of this. Boop. So I have more brainstorming space. There's a stack of books I'm looking at behind you, so I'm just going to add those real quick. This book that says Love something, I can't read it from here. Antibot, Piglet, Invisible Monsters, Brutes, and Poor Dear. Okay, this formatting is slightly bothering me, but it's all brainstorming, so it's fine. These books here, Valor, Love, Antibot, Piglet, these are all books I own. A couple of them I just bought and they sound really, really good. So I would like to get into those. These ones here, a couple of these you probably recognize from my last video, but these are all books I've borrowed from friends. And so I do want to prioritize those and kind of start giving those back because I'm guilty of borrowing books and letting them sit on the shelves. And then I feel bad because I'm I need to give you your book back. So I just don't want, I feel like I'm wearing out my welcome a little bit, at least on a couple of them. So my friend was so sweet. She's here's a fresh stack. Do you want these? I don't want you to feel pressured. And I'm I'm already pressured. Give it to me. So I just have more books to get through. 9, 10. So that could be a decent stack of physical books to just have on the menu. I'm going to keep looking for more audiobooks. I definitely want to get to, I think these two. Pet Cemetery would be a reread. I think I read it in 2020, but it would be fun to re-listen and see if I just have a different experience with it. I read that book as a way to work through some grief. Basically, I was searching for answers in literature. And at the time, the horror, scary elements weren't disturbing. The book across the board didn't disturb me. It more so was just relating to the main character after he loses somebody and working through that. So just, I don't know, I think it'll be interesting, if I revisit it, how I think about it now. Because I've read some other King in the meantime. So, I don't know. I think it sounds like a fun time. Fun, I use that loosely. And Butcher and Blackbird does sound interesting. I think I'll move Cytonic over just because I think I can get to it. And then I need to find some more Kindle books. So I'm going to do some more research, some more book recon, and I will check back in with you in a little bit. So I just went to the Libby app because I wanted to check out my holds, and I'm glad I did because that gives me some ebook options. Powerless by Lauren Roberts should be available soon. I had gotten it sent to me and I just said deliver it later. I wasn't ready to pick it up. So that could be an option. And then The Empire of Silence, the Sun Eater series, I've heard is really, really good, especially for fans of Red Rising. It's a sci-fi, so I love Red Rising. So I'm hoping I will really like this book. So let me add these to my list here. Powerless, Empire of Silence. Oh wow. Spelling. Silence. If you are into digital journaling and iPads and stuff, in order to get the pictures, I just go to Safari. I feel like it's actually a little bit easier to save and download things from Safari, but I just searched the book. Images. I just find the one I want, like press and hold, and then I can just bring it over. It's always fun too when I do this to see like the other covers. Okay, delete that, and then just Libby holds. Okay, swipe that over, go back to Libby. I'm still quite a ways out on the third book for the Thursday Murder Club. That's kind of a bummer. That's okay. The other way I like to look for books on Libby is just by going to Available Now. Let's look for a couple audiobooks. Oh yeah, I should add. I actually own Twisted Love. Maybe I'll borrow that one because I have it as I could have it as an audiobook or a physical book. And I do love like a nice trashy romance when I'm on vacation. So let's throw that on the list. Let's go here. I guess I could go to my actual like TBR tag and see what books are on there. I just like to check what's available now because a lot of times you can be surprised with like the new books that are on Libby. I do want to get to Belladonna, but I feel like that's more of a fall time read. So I'll save that. Oh, I could try How to Change Your Mind because I have that as a physical book as well, so I could like switch back and forth. Do I have that one? Oh, I do. Oh, I was looking at the Final Girls support group. I have that one on my shelves as well. Interview with a Vampire. I liked most of the book, but I felt like the ending just went super flat for me. But I loved like the like idea of it, and like watching the movie was like very strange and uncomfortable because you have a like child who was turned into a vampire, and then like mentally she's growing, but she's still like, now she's like an older woman like in a child's body, and that was like fucking weird. Oh my god, oh yeah, Annihilation, 50 Shades of Grey. What am I feeling? Alexander Hamilton, we are waiting in the wings for you. You know what I could throw on here is the Wheel of Time, book 1. Uh-oh, I found a puppy. Hopefully she's not crazy today. Okay, I was thinking, what if, that would be insane. Do I want to like even open that can of worms by adding Wheel of Time, number 1. I saw another YouTuber talk about Sula. What's this about? 2 girls who grow up to become women, 2 friends who become something worse than enemies. It's got some awards. Oh, it's narrated by the author too. I feel like that's always a nice like touch because the writer like knows how they want things delivered or like how they want like scenes to play out. Maybe I'll tag that. See, this is what I mean by like scrolling on my book apps. Like I'll just scroll and scroll. It's insane. I could also try an Ellen Hildebrand. Maybe. The problem is I don't know what I'm feeling for May. You know, like I don't know. I'm still kind of in like my weird literary fiction era, but also it's getting nice out, so I want like fun, summery, like fun time with things. Okay, I think that's enough time on Libby. Let's look at the Kindle app. See if there's anything new in the store, and I'll be looking at ebooks and audiobooks. Let's see all books I may like. Oh yeah, I could finish with Ruthless Vows. Let's do this. This one had caught my eye, I think honestly because there's a butt on the cover. But it actually sounds really interesting and like kind of along those like the weird literary fiction. Falls in love, and then he rejects her, and then it becomes like a jealous obsession. I know that one sounds kind of interesting. I'll just throw it on the list because I don't know what the vibe is yet. I don't know. I have a really random lineup so far. Empire of the Vampire looks interesting. Oh, the Rose Code by Kate Quinn. Some historical fiction. Oh, all roads lead here. 600 pages. Jesus. I've heard good things about Mariana Zapata. I don't know if I'm in the mood for romance. I don't know. Ooh, that's a cool cover. Oh, it's a duology. Oh, it's not out yet. Why are you showing me? It's not out. Okay, I want to search specifically for audiobooks. I think I looked at Friends in Napa. 6 old friends descend on Napa Valley for a luxurious weekend of fine wine, good times, until old tensions simmer to the surface. So much can go wrong in this dark comedy by the author of The Goddess Effect. It's frustrating because I feel like there's more audiobooks on Kindle Unlimited, but the search, I don't know. I feel like it's not very user-friendly. Let me just look at Audible real quick. Let's see. I want free books. Let's see what's included. An Audible Plus. Fantasy. Really? Interesting. The graphic audio is included. That's actually impressive. Like to have new stuff like this. What's the first book? I don't even remember. Is it Assassin's Quest? No, that's a Fits in the Fool. What's the hell is book 1? Okay. That's an option. That's something I want to get to. And I love that it's for free. Oh, the Library at Mount Char. I actually think I want this one. We're just going to add that to library. This is such a tiny spot. Library. Wow. Mount Char. Okay. I've heard this is weird. I've heard this book is really good and really weird. And I think it's newer, so I don't know. This is why I just like to just scroll and search because you never know what you're going to find. And it's so exciting. God, Anna Karenina's 35 hours long. That's insane. Fight Club. I've got another Chuck book. Invisible Monsters is by the same author. 39 hours, Don Quixote. That's nuts. It's such a long book. Okay, I'm going to do some more thinking off camera. And hopefully when I see you again, I will kind of have the final lineup. We'll just see how this shapes up. I'll check and see. I should have an audiobook credit, hopefully for Audible. If not, I might have to go back to the drawing board. But this is where we're at. I found some more things. I want to listen to a few of these narrators and yeah, just sit on it before I make a final decision. I'm back, and it is the next day. And we're hanging out in my greenhouse because it has been so nice this weekend. It's been 45. It actually feels warm. The greenhouse is hot. 80. It's 80 degrees in here. I'm already a little sweaty. But I just cannot be kept inside when it's nice out. And I don't even have to be doing anything. I can just lay outside, lounge. But all I want to do is be outside and not be stuck indoors, doing chores and cleaning. And I thought, man, I really don't want to sit inside to film, so let's go outside. And it is so nice in here. So I have a nice stack of books. I finished my kind of menu for May. And I got a stupid amount of books. But I'm really excited about it. I picked out some things that sound interesting. I still don't know what the vibe is for the month of May. It is so random. I have some historical fiction, I think, some spooky stuff. And then I jump over to epic fantasy. Then I jump back to romantasy. And then I'm back to weird books. It's just all over the place. So this is what my month is looking like. So I have 11 physical books, 10 Kindle picks, and then 10 audio picks. And that puts me at a grand total of 31. 31 books. This is insane. I'm definitely, I've never read more than, I think, 12 or 13. So, like, this is, like, if you are, like, watching me for the first time and, like, this is the clip you're clicking on and you're like, what the hell? This chick is not reading 31 books in a month. You are correct. I just like having this kind of as, like, a mood board, a menu, like, narrowing down my options and then giving myself kind of choices within a smaller range. Because, like I said, I scroll online for way too long. Then I get distracted. I lose my progress or my momentum. And then I never, like, end up not finishing stuff. So this is just a way to kind of keep me on track and keep me focused while also, like, catering to my various whims and interests, because clearly there's a variety. So I'm going to try to give you just kind of like a surface level, like, a little snippet, like why I picked it, what I'm interested in, like kind of my reason behind my choices, and I'll try to tell you a little bit about the books if I know what they're about. Some of these I picked and I don't know what they're about. It just was purely on vibes or recommendation. So if anything sounds interesting, definitely look it up, see if it is the right book for you. I think if I tried to give, like, an in-depth review or recap of what every book is about, I think it would end up taking me way too long because I have 31 books on this fucking list. So we're gonna keep it, like, short and sweet, to the point. And we're just gonna start with a couple new books. So I bought Love Novel by Ivana Saksho. I don't know if the J is silent. Frick. This is a short book, about 100 pages, and I kind of just, like, I thought the cover was interesting. I skimmed the back really quick. It's about a husband and wife waging a silent war of rage and resentment. He is an out-of-work scholar trying to change the world and write a novel. She was a passable actress, but now she's failing at breastfeeding. He drinks cheap wine, she cleans obsessively. In their two-room flat, tensions rise and turn exquisite. The rent is past due, their careers have stalled, the regime is crumbling, and there's always a baby, the baby who won't stop crying. I kind of read, like, the first few lines, and I just liked the way it seemed. It's just, like, you can already tell in the first few sentences that the husband is not happy. And I think this will be really exciting to dive into. Next up is Poor Dear. This is from my girlfriend by Claire Oshchesky. And this follows a young woman whose friend, she was murdered, killed. I don't know. Her friend dies. I don't know why I'm guessing. I don't know what happens to her friend. But her friend is dead, and she does not remember. I don't know. It seems like she doesn't remember what's going on. Like, she's just lost in this grief, and a strange and formidable creature winds her way uninvited into Margaret's made-up tales. Poor Dear will not rest until Margaret faces the truth about her past and atones for her role in Agnes's death. So that's kind of all I need to know. Also, this has been circulating as, like, a weird book for weird girls. Like, that's it. Done. My friend also gave me Brutes, which also is kind of like a weird book by Diz Tate. She read it and she's like, I don't know what I read, but it was good. And I also just enjoyed that experience. Teenage girls are obsessed with the local preacher's daughter, Sammy. She's mesmerizing older and in love with Eddie, but suddenly she goes missing. Where is she? Watching from a distance, they edge even closer, discovering a dark secret about their fame-hungry town and the cruel cost of a ticket out. What they will see will haunt them for the rest of their days. I think female friendships, if there's, like, an obsessive component to this, I think that will be really interesting. Just kind of like the darker sides of female friendships and women, especially, like, in your teenage years, because that shit is rough. And I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm like, cool, sounds good. Should have organized these before I started. Vampires of El Norte, Shark Heart, and The Warm Hands of Ghosts are all carryovers from last month, and I do really want to kind of prioritize these because these are all borrowed, and, like, I just feel bad hanging on to these. So I want to, like, read my friends' books, give them back so I can borrow more books from them. I do have just my Skyward novellas on here still. I'm almost done with one of them. I think I could kind of bang out another one pretty quickly. So I did keep that on there. Valor is a carryover. I really, really want to get to this so I can keep this series going. I snagged Piglet by Lottie Hazel. I just think, like, the title and the cover with a hamburger is, like, really intriguing. And I also know a Lottie in real life, and that is super fun, so hi. This sounded really, really interesting. Outside of a childhood nickname she can't shake, Piglet's rather pleased with how her life turned out. She's an up-and-coming cookbook editor at a lovely publishing house, like good friends, handsome fiance Kit. Things are going great for her. But when Kit, her fiance, confesses a horrible betrayal 2 weeks before they're set to be married, Piglet suddenly finds herself ... hungry. Ooh. At the end it says, Piglet is both an examination of women's often complicated relationship with food and a celebration of the messes life sometimes make for us. So I think that sounds fascinating. And then Annie bought, the cover caught my eye, flipped into it, and what I'm understanding is that Annie is an artificial, like, AI girlfriend. Come for the sex doll, stay for the heartbreak of what it means to be human. Sounds like the boyfriend loves her in that she is designed to satisfy his emotional and physical needs. Dinner's ready every night. She wears cute outfits and adjusts her libido to suit his moods. She's not the greatest at keeping Doug's place spotless, but she's trying to please him. She's trying hard. She's learning too. Doug says he loves that Annie's AI makes her seem more like a real woman, but the more human Annie becomes, the less perfectly she behaves. Done. And then lastly, Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk. He's the author of Fight Club, which I didn't realize. And we can't talk about Fight Club. My girlfriend loved this book. She gave it 5 stars and said it's like perfect for kind of weird books. And I just was like, excellent. All I know is that a fashion model who had everything is suddenly disfigured and incapable of speech. She goes from being the center of attention to an invisible monster so hideous that no one will acknowledge she exists. She had so many quotable lines from this. I think it's going to be a trip, so I'm excited that she'll be borrow it. So thanks, Courtney. Thanks for the books. For ebooks, we had talked about Woman Eating by Claire Coda, and then When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. That is a new fantasy romance that's out. I've heard mixed reviews about it. If I get to it, it will be exciting to see like how I feel about it. Ruthless Vows is the second book in the duology. It started with, oh wow, what is it called? Oh, Divine Rivals. So this would be the conclusion for the Divine Rivals duology. And I thought it was fun. Like, it was kind of an average, like, enjoyable 3-star read for me. I would like to see how that ends. I mentioned Acts of Desperation. This is by Megan Nolan. This is also on Kindle Unlimited. I have Powerless and The Empire of Silence on hold from Libby. Powerless, I actually don't know what it's about. It's by Lauren Roberts. I have seen good things about it online, and one of my other girlfriends read it recently and enjoyed it. So that should hopefully be available soon. And then The Empire of Silence is part of the Sun Eater series, and I've heard this is really, really good for sci-fi fans, especially if you liked Red Rising. We talked about The Sword of Kaigen, so I would like to get to this. This is a standalone fantasy by M.L. Wong. Chain Gang All-Stars on here again, because I want to frickin' get to this. There's too many books! Lilith by Nikki Marmory is a story about her in the Garden of Eden. At the beginning of time, an outrageous lie is born, that women are inferior. Lilith and Adam are equal and happy in the Garden of Eden, but when Adam decides Lilith should submit to his will and lie beneath him, she refuses and is banished forever from paradise. In this feminine retelling of an ancient Hebrew myth, Lilith will have her revenge no matter how long it takes. Ooh, okay. Interesting. I have actually never heard of Lilith. I know Adam and Eve, but yeah, I want to hear about her. Oh, and then Cursed Bread. This is a kind of short novella about a French town. It's a tale of violence, obsession, and desire that leads up to the mysterious mass poisoning of a French village in 1951. Perfect. For audiobooks, I grabbed The Signature of All Things from Libby. This is by Elizabeth Gilbert. I don't know much about this one. I do know I enjoy Elizabeth Gilbert's writing. I've read a few of her other books, so I saw this was available. I actually have a physical copy as well, but I kind of needed some audiobooks, and I like the narrator's voice, so we're just going to roll with it. This is me being so insane. Like, I have so many series that are open and ongoing and incomplete, but here I am potentially going to listen to Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, which is like the first book in the trilogy, but then there's like a whole Robin Hobb universe, so like potentially getting into like another 15 book series. And then I put Wheel of Time on here, the first book, Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, which is literally another like 15 book fantasy series. So here we are, just being insane. I don't know if I'll get to them. Right now, Assassin's Apprentice is on Audible, like included in the Members Plus catalog if you have that. And so is The Library at Mount Char. This is by Scott Hawkins, and this sounds really interesting as well. I've honestly just heard like it's insane, it's crazy, it's weird, and that's kind of all I need to know. It's, I guess, listed as a contemporary fantasy or horror novel. It's a debut by Scott Hawkins. Yeah, that's kind of all I want to know. I don't want to know more. I have Cytonic on here because I think I can get to that as my Skybird reread. I'm keeping Tom Lake on here by Ann Patchett. It's narrated by Meryl Streep. So I had kind of started to listen to a little bit of it, and I do want to get to some Ann Patchett anyways, so we just are keeping it on the list. Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I mentioned this would be a reread, but it is narrated by Michael C. Hall, so you can have Dexter, like the star of the show Dexter, reading to you, which I think sounds like a fun time. I have Butcher and Blackbird as well as a potential audiobook, and then kind of the last two I was maybe thinking of is Dungeon Crawler Dan by Matt Dinniman and The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. So I actually don't know much about Dungeon Crawler Dan other than it's about like a human who is essentially like participating in like televised games that like the aliens are hosting, and they like put humans in and then they like cheer for humans. I've heard it's a really, really great audiobook series. So if I have some free listening time, I would like to check that out. And then The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu, that is the book 2 in the Dandelion Dynasty, starting with the Grace of Kings, and I like the story. It's kind of a continuation of the events like after book 1, so I kind of just want to have that series like in the back of my mind for like audiobooks to pick up. That is it, you guys. I am sweaty. It is time to get out of this greenhouse. It's so hot. I hope you have a wonderful reading month for May. Tell me what you're excited about to read down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!